Hi everybody, so we're back at Donington again. We had a pretty frustrating race last time, so I decided to give it another go. This time I actually qualified second on the grid. It ranked me 7th on the server based on the other drivers, but I've actually managed to get it on second position, which is good. And yeah, I've got hopes that we're not going to have as much chaos and frustration as we did last time, but I guess we'll see what happens when it goes green. Just trying to warm the tyres up. I'm not actually sure if this really actually works. Everybody else seems to be doing it, so it's better than nothing, right? Okay, I'm not sure when he's going to go. Oh, he's already gone. Okay. So the good thing there is it seemed to catch almost everybody else snapping too. So not too bad for us into the first corner. Not really too much pressure, but we've got to try to stay with this guy and not lose him. Tyres are definitely a bit cold. Car's sliding quite a bit, and he's obviously got a bit out of control there. Got on the brakes quite early. So definitely feeling the tyres are not quite gripping yet, but obviously everybody's in the same boat. The good thing with this race compared to the last one is that we don't have a million people breathing straight down our neck. Getting a slight opportunity here. Probably shouldn't lunge it because the tyre's been cold. I think I'll just sit behind him for a second and wait and see what happens. He's definitely struggling on the tyres more than I am. This guy was on one of the practice sessions I was on before, and he was definitely a lot quicker than me. He's got quite a bad exit out there, so let's see if we can go up the inside here. Should cover it off quite nicely. And I think we've got the position there at least. So now we have to just watch out, because it's a lot easier to follow somebody around. You can get in their draft. And have to keep in mind that our tyres are still going to be cold. Quite a nice gap there. I'm not sure if it's a setup thing, but I've noticed in all the races I've done, especially the last one, everybody seems to struggle really on their tyres at the start, and mine seem to switch on a lot quicker than other people's. You know, in that last race I felt like I could just pass a lot of people. Unfortunately I got took out, but if I hadn't have been taken out, I think I was on for a good position that race. Just clipping the two bollards there. I do feel that the chicane is probably one of my stronger points on this track. I think a lot of people struggle with that. Using all the track. Find a just brake just past where there's a little rubber smudge on the right, and just brings you into the apex quite nicely. So apologies for the lack of virtual mirror here. For some reason when I loaded this race up, iRacing had reset some of my settings, so I don't think you guys can see the virtual mirror on the recording, but I'll try to sort something out afterwards to give you guys a view from behind the car. But apologies if you keep seeing me looking up quite a lot, it's because the virtual mirror is a lot higher than it usually is. Okay, so just settling to this now. My main fear at the moment is just that the cars behind me will have their tyres suddenly switch on, and then I'll be put under pressure. So just trying to stretch the lead as much as possible. Slight bit understeer through there. And actually that understeer's let the guy behind catch up. He's now just 0.4 seconds behind me, so real risk of being under attack here. Also give him a chance to get in our draft, and we don't really want that. So might have to go defensive at some point. Feel like I took a better line through there, just pulling away slightly.
We've just done a 136.0, sector 2 time was good. The guy behind has just done a 135.8.
That last lap definitely wasn't one of my quickest. It's only a 135.9. I'd like to get back into the 134s again. Hopefully as the fuel burns down and the tyres warm up, we should be able to get that. Still not convinced with the old hairpin whether we should be in 4th or 3rd. 4th definitely gives you the traction out of the corner, but then it makes it understeer. Getting a bit of understeer here as well. He's still sitting behind me, which isn't the end of the world, but I don't really want to get on and attacked. Still understeering a little bit through there.
Time to get defensive, mate.
Got a feeling his tyres might have just switched on. He seems to be driving a lot faster than he was when I was behind him.
The guy behind has just done a 135.6.
Sliding a little bit through there. One of the most important corners to get right, that one, I think. If you can hook it up like I did there, really can carry the speed, really helps the lap time. I tend to take a lot shallower line through this corner than other people, but it seems to work for me. Same again with this corner. I think it's good to go quite shallow. Ultimately you don't want the car drifting too wide or understeering. Felt pretty good through there. You kind of want it to straight line as much as possible without getting a penalty. I feel like we're pulling a bit of a gap again, which is good. Oof. Pushed a bit wide there though. It's definitely going to give him a chance to close up. Don't know if it's the track temperature, if the track's a little bit warm, but not quite on the lap pace that I wanted to be on. My best time has been a 134.2 before, and I think the track was a lot cooler then. But hopefully as the fuel burns down, I should be able to get into the 134s at least. Right, so we've got this guy now breathing down our neck. I feel like his tyres must have definitely switched on. Let's get a good exit out here. Ooh, still understeering a bit. Problem is when you're leading like this, you have to kind of work twice as hard, and your tyres have to work twice as hard, because he can sit in our draft Oh dear. That really did understeer. We're really under attack here. He's going up the inside. Not really much I can do. I can just try to get a cut back potentially, but I've got the other guy behind me. So I can't even get the cut back. Well, I've got the inside line at least, so I can defend pretty hard here, I think.
Clear right.
Yeah. I just purposely braked on the apex to make sure that he stayed behind me and he couldn't get the cut back again.
That's 20 minutes to go.
Got to be really careful now. One little mistake and I've got two cars right behind me. It could all be over. I'm just going to try changing my brake bias a bit, put it back a bit, because I was getting a little bit of understeer, especially the chicane last time.
This guy distract you.
So let's just try it with the brake bias back one click. Yeah, that felt a lot better. Kind of turned in on the front a lot nicer, and then we were able to just shoot it out the other side. Yeah, that brake bias is working well here as well. It's bringing us right onto the apex. So the brake bias is one of the tools that a lot of people don't really use too much. They set it up once and they just leave it there. What I find is you can really change the dynamic of the car and how it's driving by using it. So if your car's understeering too much into the corner, put your brake bias backwards. It'll give you a bit more turn in. If it's oversteering a bit too much, sometimes put your brake bias forward, give it a bit more stability. So the corner coming up here, I actually prefer having the brake bias neutral, so I've just pushed it back forwards again and just going into here. Keeps the car from not rotating too much, and if I put the brake bias back on that corner, and sometimes even this corner, you can actually over rotate the car. So you can see there I turned in, brake bias was neutral, and it actually slid through fine. I'm going to put it back again now, because the chicane, I really want it to positively turn in. So straight onto the first, straight onto the second. You can see the difference there with it back on the initial turn in. I was just able to brake and get it to hit the first apex. I think if I'd left the brake bias as it was, there's a risk that it might have just pushed a bit wide. Pulling us in quite nicely onto that apex as well. And I also find this corner down here is definitely a good one to have some rear brake bias. You want to kind of go quite deep into the corner, turn in quite late, pull into the apex, and as soon as you know that you're going to make it out, that's when you get on the throttle. If you get on the throttle too early there, you will understeer. We see a lot of people braking through here as well. I just keep flat if I can, keeps the car actually steady. And personally I go down to third. I think there's probably quick guys going in fourth there, but third just gives me the confidence the car will definitely turn in. So brake bias forward again now, keep it steady. My personal shallow line, I know a lot of people take a lot wider line into there. And then once again, brake bias neutral, turn in, and good exit. So one of the key things when it comes to brake bias and stuff like that is you don't really want the car sliding. If you slide the car, you'll overheat the tyres. So you can see there the car was just starting to slide a bit. And so because I've been using the brake bias backwards, the rears are probably getting a little bit hotter than they would have. And actually you can see there as we braked, we actually understeered a bit. So it definitely suggests that we're now stressing the tyres a little bit more than we were. So it's a balancing act between trying to get the car to essentially slide enough or let go of grip to let the car rotate. Also not sliding too much that we overheat the tyres and then make it hard to control. So that was a nice 134.7 there. Good to get into the 134s. Not as fast as I have gone, but as I say, the track could be quite warm. We still do have quite a lot of fuel on board. So pulled 1.3 seconds. That's good to pull away a bit, but it's still not far. So we have to be careful. One little mistake and that guy could definitely get us again. Definitely going nicely through there now. So you want to try to avoid that happening too much, because these cars have got traction control on them. If you kind of slip the car too much on the exit of a corner, it'll actually bog down as the traction control kicks in. So what I find with these sort of cars, you want to get into the corner, essentially get it pointing the way that you want to go as straight as possible, and then get on the power. Obviously if the car is straight, it's got a lot less likelihood of it actually trying to rotate on the acceleration, and therefore the traction control is not going to kick in. So often if you get on the throttle too early, that will be the result. So as you can see, I'm actually adjusting the brake bias back and forward as I'm driving the lap. This is something I used to do in the Ferrari GT3 Challenge Series, and it worked really well for me there. You can essentially get the best of both. So I'm putting the brake bias back, as you just saw there, so that we can get through corners like that, and then putting it forward when I want a bit more stability. If I set it one way or the other, the full lap, I'd be compromised one way or the other. So I'd either have it too loose then in some of the corners where I want it stable, or have it understeering in the corners that I want it to turn in. So on that last corner, the car pushed a bit too wide. Obviously we didn't want that to happen, but at the same time, you can actually turn it into a situation where you don't lose too much time if you've got a long straight after, because you can then get a really, really good exit out, carry a lot of speed, and you'll make up a lot of time that you lost in the next straight section. So again, just putting the brake bias forward again. If I left the brake bias back, it would definitely be oversteering through that corner. And then there's a possibility, because it would have oversteered in the last corner, the tyres would be too hot for that corner, and it would oversteer again. Oof. So even though the brake bias is back, sometimes there's a point where the tyres just say no. You could see there the fronts were just not wanting to grip. So in some games like Assetto Corsa, or back in the days Live for Speed, you could actually see all your tyres' temperatures live as you're driving. and ultimately what that let you do was kind of manage your tyres a lot better, understand what makes a tyre get hot, how you cool it down, etc. In this game they purposely hide that information for you as you drive, because you could use it essentially to cheat a bit if you knew what you were doing. But it is a bit frustrating because it makes it a lot harder to really understand what the state of your tyres is at that moment. So because it understeered through that corner last time, I actually tried to brake a little bit earlier, just to give me a bit more breathing room. But as you saw there, it's still understeered on the exit, so I might just try braking a little bit earlier again next time. Back into the 134s again, which is what we want to see. Getting good exit out of there. So we pulled a 2-second gap, which gives us a bit of comfort, but it's definitely not as much comfort as you want. Ultimately, one little false move, if I go through the chicane like I did in the last race and get a slowdown penalty, that would give these guys behind me a chance to pounce, so I've got to be careful. And so as you saw there, I braked a little bit earlier again, and now we actually got through it with no issues. So as the race develops, as your tyres grip, depending on the amount of grip you've got, you're always adjusting your braking points, in a way your lines, how aggressively you get on the throttle, how aggressively you get on the brake. It's kind of a constant balancing act between all these things. You can't just do the exact same thing every time. Because there's just too many variables in it. Somebody might be wondering, okay, well, how do you know what to do when? And at the end of the day, that is just the feel that you get. If you feel the car understeer, oversteer, or get a bit loose, then you know to adjust. This corner here, for example, feels like we've got quite a lot of grip at the moment. But one of the other races I did, as I went through that corner, it just completely slid every time. So in that situation I didn't have the brake bias back at all, and I braked a bit earlier, and even in some places I short shifted to fourth to give me a bit more stable kind of exit out the corner.
The gap behind is now 2.5.
So we're just starting to open the gap a bit, which is good. But unfortunately we're starting to catch up the back markers of the TCR class. So there is definitely a possibility that we might get caught up or held up by the TCRs.
You've got 10 minutes of fuel remaining.
So Brian is still hanging on. We haven't really dropped him, so we're keeping our distance, but anything can still happen, unfortunately. This section here, it's always scary, and actually in real life it's pretty scary as well. I've actually raced for real at this track before, and maybe in a future video I'll actually upload a video of one of the races I've done here. But yeah, the Craner curves, it's a real heart in your mouth moment. And actually I think the first ever track day I ever did was at Donington. My dad sort of took me there, and yeah, I think either he or I spun at a certain point. I can't remember exactly where, but I blame the car. It probably had dodgy brakes or something like that.
Slower class car ahead. 5 minutes remaining. Bring it on home. You're the man.
Okay, so let's see what this guy's going to do when we catch him up. I think when you're leading the race, typically people respect the fact that you're leading, and if you're lapping them and you're in a slower class car, they'll just give you some space and let you through, which is exactly what he's doing there. So top man, absolutely top man. It's sometimes trickier either if you're in mid-pack, or as I had on the Snetterton races, I'm sort of fighting back through the pack. I had that in Nürburgring as well. In those situations you're on the same lap as the people you're overtaking, and even though they're not racing you, they're still not want to let you through. And I think a YouTuber called Dave Cam had a situation a bit like this recently. Rode Atlanta, and he had a Porsche behind him that obviously had some trouble, and yeah, Dave was in a battle with the other TCRs, and at the end of the day the Porsche behind him had damage and was slow, so the Porsche was struggling to get through. A lot of the time when you're the leader, or you're first, second and third, especially if you're in a battle, they will give you space, so hopefully we're not going to have trouble when we catch these other guys up. So I'm hoping to upload some new videos soon as well, a new format. And ultimately the new format is just going to be a sort of review of the cars in iRacing, just looking at them in a bit more detail and driving a bit aggressively. So let me know what you think of those videos when they come out, and then maybe in a month or two's time I'd like to start doing videos that are just more the basics, as I understood. So kind of covering the basics of sim racing or real racing, and I can kind of give tips on certain driving techniques, or even how you can go racing for real in real life. So catching up the back of the TCRs, you can see them all going through. Not sure if we'll catch them by the end of this race though. One of them's gone off.
Watch out.
That's actually a Porsche, I think, that went off there. So I have been feeling that I really should race a bit more often. When you're quick on a track combination, like I obviously am here, it's a really good opportunity to actually improve your iRating. But as in my iRating video I did the other day, at the moment I'm not really caring too much. I found that it kind of made me not want to race that much once my iRating got too high before. And so these days I'm just racing, and if it goes up it goes up, and if it goes down it goes down. But certainly at some point it'd be nice to focus on it, get us into some of the more premier esports or broadcast events. So on to the last lap. Looks like we might have to manage this traffic, so hopefully they don't take us out. Whoa! Okay, didn't expect that.
You've got 5 minutes of fuel remaining. That was 134.9. That's good consistency. Keep it up.
So this is a problem that we can have sometimes where two cars are battling. They're obviously on the last lap as well. Anything could happen for them, so they probably don't want to let me through, but I'm hoping we don't have any troubles here. We have to stick it up the inside and the other guy's gone the other way, so... Okay, we're through on one. Unfortunately, it is sort of ruining their race a bit, but at the end of the day, we are the leader. So we're through on the second, so that's good. Both of them are pretty good, pretty sensible. And actually, I think their race has resumed pretty much. Even though we've come through between them, I think the gap is kind of back down to what it was. So I think we might have this in the bag. One more corner to go. The other Porsches are quite far behind now, I think. And here we go.
There's an incident in Redgate. Looks like Webster.
So checkered flag.
Well done, mate. You made them all look silly today.
So not the most exciting race, I must admit. But at the end of the day, a win's a win. This is top split as well, so a top split win is even better. But yeah, basically you can't complain about a win, and it felt like it all went pretty much textbook. So thanks again for watching. Sorry again that wasn't that interesting, but I'll have more content up soon. Yeah, if you like the channel and you haven't yet, please subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time.